Uh, Hello everyone. I am Prasanth Mukhopadhyay. In this class, we'll discuss about thyristor turn-up methods. How a thyristor, when it is in conduction mode, how it can be taken back into the off condition. There are several ways properly implement the thyristor turn-up methods natural, forced, and dynamic. In forced commutation, there are again several subcategories like class A, class B, class C, class D, and class E. So, whatever we will discuss today, that is how a brief description or introduction of this turn-up methodology. Then there are main turn-up methods, that is natural commutations, forced commutation, and again forced commutation is, as I told you, class A, class B, class C, class D, and class C commutations, and dynamic turn-off switching characteristics. Now, in earlier class, I have talked about the SCS turn-on methods that it can be turned on by applying appropriate positive gate voltage between gate and the cathode terminals, but it cannot be turned off to the gate terminal. So SCR can be brought back to the forward blocking state from the forward conduction state. So by reducing anode or forward current below the holding current level. If you remember that the characteristics, VI characteristics of the SCRs, you find that the IH, that is the holding current, which was just below the latching current. So if you want to turn off a thyristor from conduction mode to the off mode, so you have to reduce the anode current, so below this blocking current, so holding current. So this turn-up process is also called, it's a commutation. What is the meaning of commutation? Commutation means the transfer of current from one path to another. So commutation circuit does the job by reducing forward current to zero, so as turn off the thyristor. So turn off of conducting SCR, what are the conditions you must have to satisfy so that thyristor can be turned off from its conduction state. So that is, the anode or forward current of the thyristor must be reduced to zero or below the level of holding current, and next a sufficient reverse voltage must be applied across the SCR to regain its forward blocking state. So once again I am repeating it, the anode or forward current of SCR must be reduced to zero or below the level of holding current, and next a sufficient reverse voltage must be applied across the thyristor to regain its forward blocking state. So when the SCR is turned off by reducing forward current to zero, there exist the excess charge carriers in different layers. You know, your thyristors are having a 4-lever device, P, N, P, N. So when thyristor is turned off, so by reducing forward current to zero at different layers, excess charge carriers must exist. To regain the forward blocking state of an SCR, this excess carrier must be recombined. Therefore, this recombination process is accelerated by applying a reverse voltage across the thyristor. So, how to recombine this excess carrier which is lying in between the different in different layers? So, to recombine these excess carriers, so extra voltage excess recombination process can be completed by applying a reverse voltage across the SCR. So SCR turn-up methods, the reverse voltage which causes this the turn off of thyristor, that is commutated thyristor, is called the commutation voltage. So this reverse voltage which is applied across the thyristor for recombination of the excess carriers is known as the commutation voltage, because this voltage is necessary for turning off the thyristor. So depending on the commutation voltage location, the commutation methods are classified into two major types. One is forced commutation and another is natural commutation. So let us discuss what is forced commutation, what is natural commutation. So let us start with natural commutation. So natural commutation, the source of commutation voltage is the supply source itself. If the SCR is connected to an AC supply, at every end of the positive half cycle, the anode current goes to natural current 0, and also immediately a reverse voltage is applied across the SCR. These are the conditions of turn off the SCR. See here. So this method of commutation is also called the source commutations or line commutations or class F commutations. This commutation is possible. Why it is possible? With the commutated inverters, control rectifiers, cycloconverters and AC voltage regulators, because the supply is the AC source in these converters. You are seeing this is the circuit. Here AC source is applying, and this is the thyristors. So it is the load. Now if you apply this is the voltage source, this is source, it's the AC source, and if you apply a gate signal, it will turn on and say this is the load current. You see load current at this point, see, this is the voltage is naturally goes to the next negative half. That means current automatically goes to 0, and a reverse voltage is also applied across the thyristors for this negative half cycle, and as a result the thyristors go on commutation. So this is known as the natural commutations. Now come to the forced commutations. The forced commutation, say in DC circuits, there is no natural current in 0. So to turn off the SCRs in such circuits, forward current must be forced to 0 with an external circuit to commutate the SCR, hence named as a forced commutation. Once again I am telling, whenever we are talking about DC circuits, definitely the voltage source is also a DC, which no such case of natural current 0 or to turn off the thyristor is happening here. In such circuits, forward current must be forced to 0 with an external circuit to commutate the SCR, hence the name is forced commutation. This commutating circuit consists of components like inductors, capacitors, which is called the commutating component. These commutating components are the cause to apply a reverse voltage across the SCR that immediately brings the current in the SCR to 0. So once again I am telling, since you are taking forcefully the anode current to 0, so to applying this say reverse voltage, so this some components are used here, that is inductors, capacitors, etc., and this come by this way. So you are bringing the anode current of the SCR to 0. So based on the manner in which the 0 current achieved and arrangement of the commutating component, forced commutation is classified into different types such as class A, class B, class C, class D and E. This commutation is mainly used in chopper and inverter circuits. So class A commutation, it is also known as self commutation or resonant commutation or load commutations. So self, resonant or load commutation. In this commutation, the source of commutation voltage is in the load. This load must be an underdamped RLC supplied with a DC supply so that natural 0 is obtained. Underdamped RLC load which is supplied with a DC supply so that natural 0 is obtained. The commutating components L and C are connected either parallel. L and C is connected either in parallel or series with a load R, as shown in below. Of the SCR current, voltage and capacitor voltage. See, this is load in parallel with capacitors. This is load and load in series with capacitors. So see, since this is two circuits, this is gate current, this is the capacitor voltage, okay, and this is thyristor current. and this is again the thyristor voltage. Okay, so this is this turn up. This time is the turn up. So the value of the load resistance and commutating components are so selected that they form an underdamped resonance circuit to produce natural zero. So be careful. This resonant commutating component value should be selected in such a way that it form an underdamped resonance circuit so that natural zero is naturally produced. And the thyristor or resistor is triggered, the forward currents that start flowing through it, and during this the capacitor is charged up to the value of E. This capacitor is in charge up to the value of E. Once the capacitor is fully charged, more than the supply source voltage, the SCR becomes reverse biased, and hence the commutation of the device happens. The capacitor discharges to the load resistance to make ready the circuit for the next cycle of operation. The time for switching off the SCR depends on the resonant frequency, which further depends on the inductor and the capacitor components. I'm telling once again, once the capacitor is fully charged, the SCR becomes reverse biased because a fully charged capacitor will behave like it's a open circuit. The capacitor capacitor then discharges to the load resistance to make ready the circuit for the next cycle of the operation. The time for switching off the SCR depends on the resonant frequency, which further depends on the the resonant frequency depends on this inductor and C components, the capacitor components. This method is simple and reliable for high frequency operation, which is in the range above 1000 Hz. This type of commutation circuit is preferred due to high values of L and C components. So this is as a whole is about class A commutation. Once again, I'm repeating this, since this commutations is also called self commutations or resonant commutation or load commutations. So source of the commutation voltage is of course in the load. This load must be underdamped RLC supplied with DC supply, so the natural zero is obtained. The commutating component L and C are connected either in parallel or series with the load resistance. This is load resistance RL. So here we are seeing the waveform, voltage waveform, capacitor voltage waveform. This is the gate current. This is the thyristor current. And this is the thyristor voltage, and this is the time of SCR, because this voltage, reverse voltage, is required to make this thyristor current zero. So that's this time is called the turn-up value. So turn-up time. The value of the load resistance and the commutating components are selected in such a way, so it's form a underdamped resonance circuit, so that produce natural zero circuit to produce natural zero. So SCR is triggered. When SCR is triggered, the forward circuit again forward circuit starts flowing through it, and during the capacitor it is charged up to the value of E. Once the capacitor is fully charged, SCR becomes reverse biased, and commutation of the device, hence the commutation of the device, the capacitor discharges to the load resistance and make ready the circuits for the next cycle of operation. The time of switching off the SCR depends on the resonant frequency and further depends on the L and C. So this method is simple, reliable for high frequency operation, which is in the range of 1000 Hertz. This type of commutation circuit is preferred due to high values of load and L and C component, that is inductor and capacitor here. So this is it. This is depending on this L and C. So this is done. Okay, so that's all about your class A commutations. So now we will discuss about class B commutations. It is also a self commutations. In this commutation, HCFC is achieved automatically by the commutating component inductor and capacitor A and C. Once HCL is turned on, actually LC circuit is it's a resonating circuit, resonant circuit. So this commutation process is achieved. There are 4 mode of operations. Initially, at mode 1, actually what we are finding, a supply voltage VDC, as it is told, if its value is E. So this value voltage is applied, and the capacitor charges with its upper plate positive and lower plate negative up to the supply voltage. If I told you, if the supply voltage value VDC will be E, then it will be, the mode of operations will be say E positive, then L, say C, say load, and V negative. Okay, so this is like this one, this path. At mode 2, suppose when gate pulse is applied to the thyristors, so it will this thyristor will be turned on, constant current, this load current, it will flow through its load and capacitors. So it will actually, when the at mode 2, when gate pulse is applied across the thyristors, so thyristor will be turned on, constant current I will flow to the load, and capacitor discharging current will also flow. The load current will flows to this following part, that is this positive terminal, then thyristor, then load resistance, then again this path, and the capacitor discharge to the path is this path, C, L, then HCR, then again C negative. Now when the capacitor is completely discharged, it starts to charge with reverse polarity. Okay, when the capacitor is completely discharged, it's charged to starts charging with reverse polarity. Due to the reverse polarity of the capacitor voltage, the commutating current IC, this is the commutating current IC, so it will in this way it will oppose the load current, and as a result, so actually thyristor current will be this load current minus this say capacitor current. So this will be IL minus IC. So as soon as this commutating current, this that is more than the load current, so thyristor becomes turned off. Okay, as soon as the commutating current IC is greater than this load current, thyristor become turned off. And at mode 4, when thyristor is turned off, capacitor again starts to charge with upper plate positive, and lower plate negative. When capacitor is fully charged, thyristor will operate in the forward blocking state, and and it will be turned on with a trigger pulse if it is applied in this way. So this total phenomena is say explained here in this say waveform. This is the gate voltage waveform. This is load current. This is the thyristor current. And this is the thyristor voltage. And this particular time, so this is the reverse voltage which is required for the recombination of the excess charge carriers at different layer. So this and after totally this is the load current. This come to 0 at this point. So this time is the turn off time. Okay, so that's all about your class B commutations. So Now we can talk about. So now we will discuss about Class C commutation. So this type of commutation, the main SCR is commutated connected in series with the load and an additional or a complementary SCR2 is connected in parallel with the main SCR. So that's why this method is also called a complementary commutation. So here what we are finding, the first stage, say thyristor turns off with a reverse voltage of a charged capacitor. This is shown the figure here, complementary commutation process. Both thyristors are in off state because SCR1 and SCR2 both are in off. So the capacitor voltage is also 0. Now SCR1 or main thyristor is triggered. This is SCR1. So now what will happen? The current starts flowing in two directions. One is through this way from positive of the input voltage to load resistance, then main thyristors, and then say negative voltage, negative plate of the voltage, that is E negative. And another part is the current, charging current, that is this is positive. Then this resistance, then positive C, then negative C, and again SCR1, then this part. So this is another part. And in the second case, the capacitor, in that case, the capacitor is charged fully with the supply voltage, it is E. In this mode 2, so SCR2 is trigger, this one. So this when it is triggered, this thyristor is on and simultaneously negative polarity. How it is called? Negative polarity, because this is another current, this path, and another is this path. So if you see, this is thyristor capacitor negative polarity is being connected to the thyristor 1 anode. So that is thyristor 1 is in the reverse bias condition, and automatically it will be off. It will turn off. So as a result, what will happen? Now the capacitor starts say charging with reverse polarity through this path. This E positive, then load, then this one is C positive, C negative, and thyristor 2, then this one. Okay, and again, if SCR1 is triggered, so discharging current of the, now what we are finding in the, when this is triggered on, so this is another one part, and another part is this. Okay, this. So now it is when we'll say if we SCR1 is turned, now capacitors, this part is slow, this now come to this point. When the SCR2 is triggered, this SCR is turned on, and simultaneously negative polarity is applied across the thyristor 1. So reverse voltage across thyristor 1 immediately turn off the thyristor 1. Now capacitor starts charging with the reverse polarity through this part, that is E positive, this E positive, load, then C positive, C negative, then thyristor 2, then E negative. Okay. And again, if the thyristor 1 is triggered, so discharging current of the capacitors will turn off the SCR2. Okay, this one. This will be this is positive, this is negative. So as a result, so this discharging current will flow in this case, and this is negative polarity. This is reverse polar, and thyristor 2 will off. Okay, so this is thyristor 2 off, and this commutation is mainly used in single phase inverters with center tap transformer. The McMurray-Bedford inverter is the best example of this commutation circuit. This is very reliable method of commutation and useful for even at frequencies below 1 kilohertz. So once again, I am telling you. So this commutation process. So there are also, you can say in this way, 4 modes or operations are there. Initially, both thyristor is 1 and 2 are in off state, and voltage across capacitor is also 0. The conditions of thyristor 1 and thyristor 2 and capacitor may be stated as T1. This HCR1 is off, this HCR2 is off, and capacitor voltage is 0. In the second mode, when triggering pulse is applied to thyristor 1, so at this time, so you will find the thyristor 1 will be turned on, and there are 2 currents mainly flowing, namely load current IL and capacitor charging current. Load current IL and capacitor charging current will flow this path to this path, and another is to this path. Okay, so at steady state condition, capacitor is fully charged to this supply voltage with polarity as shown. Now, what is this condition can be represented as thyristor 1 is on, thyristor 2 is off, and this capacitor voltage is equal to this supply voltage. Now at mode 3, we are finding, so triggering pulse is applied at the thyristor 2, which is the complementary thyristor, and this will turn on, and thyristor conducting a negative, thyristor 2 is on and starts conducting. A negative polarity voltage is applied across thyristor 1, which will be in reverse bias and turned off immediately, and therefore the commutation of main thyristor HCR1 is possible. So by turning on this HCR2, then capacitor C is charged to the load, and its polarity becomes reverse. The charging path of the capacitor is like this: this positive, then load, then C positive, C negative, then this, and this one. So at the end of this operation, the conditions of thyristor 1 and thyristor 2 and the capacitor as thyristor 1 is off, thyristor 2 is on, and capacitor is of negative supply voltage. At mode 4, again thyristor 1 is triggered and it is on. Okay, it is on, and so this thyristor 2 is off automatically, immediately, as reverse bias voltage is applied across thyristor 2, and the capacitor starts to charge in reverse direction. At the end of this mode of operation, the condition of thyristor 1 and thyristor 2 and the capacitor will be thyristor 1 is on state, thyristor 2 is off state, and the capacitor voltage is equal to the supply voltage. So this is all about the class C commutations, and this is say the waveform is applicable here, as I told you. So in this way, this is gate 1, this is gate 2, this is the thyristor 2, or this is the load current, or this is your thyristor current, and this is your thyristor voltage, and this is the turn up time. Okay, this time, this one, this is the turn up time. So that's all about your class C commutations. So this is used mostly in say McMurray-Bedford inverters, and it can be used even below 1 kilohertz frequency. So that's all about class C commutation, and today we have so now we'll talk about class D commutation. This commutation is also called auxiliary commutation, because here we use an auxiliary SCR to switch the charge capacitor. So in this main SCR is commutated by the auxiliary SCR. The main SCR with load resistance from the power circuit, while the diode, inductor, L, and the auxiliary thyristor forms the commutation circuit. So this is your power circuit, and this is your auxiliary circuit, commutation circuit. Okay, this is the circuit diagram for class D commutations. This is your main thyristor, this is the auxiliary thyristors, and these are the components for commutation circuits. Now, when we apply this DC voltage, suppose this VDC equal to E, so both SCR, this main SCR and this auxiliary SCR are in off state, and capacitor voltage is 0. Now, so in order to charge this capacitor, we triggered on this auxiliary SCR, SCR2. So the capacitor charges to this part, this positive, then C positive, C negative, then this thyristors, then this load resistance, and then this negative plate of the source voltage. When the capacitor is fully charged, so this SCR, auxiliary SCR, becomes turned off because it is, when it is pulled off, it behaves like an open circuit. As a result, this auxiliary thyristors will be off, and now if this thyristor, main thyristor is on, triggered on, the current flows in the two direction, one into the load current, that is from the part this positive, then this main thyristor, then the load resistance, and this negative part, and another is the commutation current part. This is C positive, then this main thyristors, then this load inductor, then this diode, and then this to C negative. So as soon as the capacitor completely discharges, its polarity becomes reversed due to the presence of diode. The reverse discharge is not possible because if it is positive, but this is the cathode portion of the diode, so it is not possible to discharge. When SCR2, that is this auxiliary SCR, is again triggered, capacitor starts discharge to this path. This is actually C positive in that case, in this way. That is this part actually fully turned off because no current flow. SCR, when capacitor is full, if SCR1 is triggered, the current flows in that I told you. As soon as the capacitor, this discharge current will C positive, auxiliary thyristor, then SCR1, and then C minus, this one. So this way, okay, this way, but this is not possible as soon when this current, capacitor current is more than this thyristor current, then the main thyristor will off. The capacitor starts charging. When this discharging current is more than this load current, the main thyristor will become off. Again, capacitor starts charging to auxiliary thyristors to supply voltage, DC supply voltage, and then SCR2 is turned off. Both SCRs are turned off, and the above cyclic process is repeated. Mostly this commutation method is mainly used in inverters and also used in the Jones chopper circuit. We have shown here the circuit wave diagram. This is the gate supply for main thyristor. This is for auxiliary thyristor, and this is your load current. This is thyristor 1 current. This is thyristor 1 voltage. This is thyristor 2 current. This is capacitor current. So these are depicted, and all this thing is discussed during this discussions of this class C operations. Now, class D operations. Now we'll quickly go through class E operation. This is actually external pulse computation, and external pulse source is used to produce the reverse voltage across the thyristor to be turned off. The circuit is shown here. This is the circuit. Now, in this circuit, actually this pulse transformer is a very tightly coupled primary network. The air gap is very minimal. Commutating pulse, this thyristor is this external pulse is being generated, and commutating pulse designed to tight coupling between primary and secondary of this transformer. Okay. Now the SCR which is to be turned off, the pulse duration equal to the turn off time of the SCR is applied. When SCR is triggered, load current flow through the pulse transformer. See this. Okay. This is the way. Pulse transformer. If the pulse is applied to the primary of the pulse transformer and EMF or voltage is induced in the secondary of the pulse transformer, definitely here it is secondary of the if it is the pulse applied here, so it will be a voltage, it will be induced here. Now this induced voltage is applied across the SCR. This induced voltage is applied across this SCR. Okay. Now and hence the SCR is turned off. The capacitor offers a very low or zero impedance to the high frequency pulse. This capacitor is offering a very low or zero impedance to the high frequency pulse. So this is the circuit, and this is the waveform in general. This is your gate pulse form. This is your say thyristor voltage, the primary voltage, which is supplied by the pulse transformer, and this is the thyristor current. Okay, so that's all about this.